Hi friends, have you subscribed yet? Subscribe, we have new stories every day. My wife's friend nearly shattered our marriage. I met my future wife, Emily, at a ski resort in Aspen, Colorado. It was one of those perfect winter days. The sun glistening off freshly fallen snow, the air crisp and invigorating. I was cruising down the intermediate slope, enjoying the solitude, when suddenly, out of nowhere, someone collided with me. Skis tangled, poles flew, and we both tumbled into a heap of snow and laughter. "I'm so sorry," she exclaimed between giggles, her cheeks flushed beneath her goggles. "I swear, I'm usually better at stopping." I laughed, brushing snow off my jacket. "No worries. If I had to be taken out on the slopes, I'm glad it was by someone with a sense of humor." She lifted her goggles, revealing striking green eyes that seemed to sparkle even brighter against the snowy backdrop. "I'm Emily," she said, extending a gloved hand. "Jake?" I replied, shaking it. "And who might this be?" I nodded toward the woman approaching us, a brunette with a mischievous grin. "That's my partner in crime, Rachel," Emily said. "She's supposed to keep me out of trouble." Clearly failing at my job, Rachel quipped, helping us gather our gear. From that serendipitous crash, Emily and I became inseparable. We spent the rest of that ski trip together, sharing hot cocoa by the lodge fireplace and exploring the charming town. After returning home to Denver, we continued to see each other, our connection growing deeper with each passing day. Emily had been married once before, but there were no children. She was open about her past, and we both shared a desire to start a family. 2 years later, we tied the knot in an intimate ceremony in the Rockies, the place where our story began. Rachel remained the constant presence in our lives. She was Emily's best friend since college, charismatic, witty, and always up for an adventure. She often joined us for dinners, game nights, and even weekend getaways. I appreciated her friendship with Emily and didn't mind having her around. In fact, her stories and humor often added an extra layer of fun to our gatherings. One evening, as Emily and I were unwinding after a long day, she turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Jake, have you ever noticed how Rachel reacts when I talk about us?" she asked. I looked up from the book I was reading. "What do you mean?" "Well, sometimes when I share good news or talk about our plans, she gets this look," Emily explained, "like she's not genuinely happy for us." I chuckled. "Maybe she's just envious of our stellar settlers of Catonsville. We're an unbeatable team." She smiled but remained pensive. "I don't know. It's probably nothing." "Hey," I said, reaching out to squeeze her hand. "If it bothers you, we can talk to her." "No, it's fine," she sighed. "I just wanted to share what I was feeling." Weeks went by, and life was good. Then, out of the blue, I started receiving strange emails from anonymous senders. "Do you really know what your wife is up to?" Read one. "She's hiding secrets from you," said another. At first, I dismissed them as spam or phishing attempts. But then came an email that made my blood run cold. Attached were photos of Emily kissing another man, her ex-husband, Mark. The timestamps indicated they were recent. I stared at the images, my mind racing. Emily had mentioned running into Mark at a mutual friend's wedding months ago, but she assured me that we're merely acquaintances now. That evening, I decided to confront her. "Emily, can we talk?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Sure, what's up?" she replied, setting aside her tablet. I took a deep breath and showed her the emails. "Care to explain these?" Her eyes widened as she scrolled through the photos. "What? How did you get these?" "They were emailed to me anonymously," I said. "Are they real?" She shook her head vigorously. "Jake, these photos are from years ago, when Mark and I were still married. I took them myself. They were never shared publicly." "Then why are they being sent to me now as if they're recent?" I pressed. "I have no idea," she insisted, her voice tinged with panic. "I haven't seen Mark in ages. Is there any chance someone hacked your old devices or accounts?" I asked. "Maybe," she conceded. "But who would do that?" We sat together, puzzling over the situation. Suddenly, Emily's face paled. "Wait a minute," she murmured. "Remember when Rachel borrowed my old laptop last month because hers was being repaired?" "Yeah," I nodded slowly. "You said she needed it for a work project. What if she found these photos?" Emily speculated. "She could have accessed my old files." "But why would Rachel do that?" I asked, skepticism creeping in. "I don't know," Emily admitted. But it's the only connection that makes sense. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Emily invited Rachel over for dinner the next evening. As we sat around the table, making small talk, Emily finally broached the subject. "Rachel, I got some disturbing emails recently," she began carefully. "They contained old personal photos of me and Mark." Rachel raised an eyebrow, feigning surprise. "That's strange. Any idea who sent them?" "That's what we're trying to figure out," I added, watching her closely. "Do you think someone hacked you?" Rachel suggested, taking a sip of her wine. "Possibly," Emily said. "But the only person who's had access to my devices recently is you." Rachel's expression flickered just for a moment before she laughed lightly. Are you implying I had something to do with this?" "It's just odd timing," Emily replied. "We wanted to ask if you'd noticed anything unusual." Rachel leaned back in her chair. "I can't believe you'd suspect me. I'm your best friend." "It's not about suspicion," I interjected. "We're just trying to eliminate possibilities." She scoffed. "Well, I don't appreciate the accusation. Maybe you should be looking closer to home." "What does that mean?" I asked, my patience wearing thin. "Maybe Emily isn't as innocent as she seems," Rachel said sharply. Emily looked hurt. "Rachel, why are you saying this?" Rachel stood up abruptly. "You know what? I don't have to sit here and be interrogated. Call me when you've sorted out your trust issues." With that, she grabbed her coat and stormed out, leaving us in stunned silence. "That was intense," I remarked. "I've never seen her act like that," Emily whispered, tears welling up. "What if she really did this?" The following day, I received a text from Rachel asking to meet privately. Against my better judgment, I agreed, hoping to resolve the tension. We met at a quiet coffee shop downtown. Rachel arrived wearing a form-fitting dress, her makeup meticulously applied. "Thanks for coming," she said, flashing a tight smile. "Let's make this quick," I replied coolly. She leaned forward. "Jake, I feel like there's been a misunderstanding." "Really? Because it seems like you're trying to sabotage my marriage," I retorted. She sighed dramatically. "Fine, I'll be honest. I've developed feelings for you." I stared at her, incredulous. "Excuse me. Think about it," she purred. "We've always had a connection. The laughs, the shared interests. Don't tell me you haven't felt it too." "Rachel, you're my wife's best friend. This is completely inappropriate," I said firmly. She smirked. "Is it? Emily doesn't have to know. We could be good together." I stood up. "This conversation is over." "Wait," she grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "If you walk away now, I'll make sure Emily regrets it." I pulled my arm free. "Are you threatening us?" She tilted her head. "Think of it as an incentive to reconsider." "Rachel, you need help," I said, stepping back. "Stay away from us." I left the cafe, my heart pounding. This situation had escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. At home, I recounted everything to Emily. She admitted to sending the emails. I concluded, she wants to break us apart. Emily was visibly shaken. "I can't believe she would do this. All these years of friendship." "I'm sorry," I said softly. "I know this hurts." She squared her shoulders. "We need to take action." Together, we decided to file a police report, documenting the harassment and threats. We also reached out to mutual friends to explain the situation, advising them to be cautious. A few days later, we received a letter from Rachel. "Dear Emily and Jake, I apologize for my actions. I've been struggling with personal issues and let my emotions get the best of me. I hope someday you can forgive me. Rachel." Emily sighed, folding the letter. "I don't know if I can forgive her, but I do hope she gets the help she needs." "Agreed," I nodded. "The important thing is that we're standing together." To heal from the ordeal, we decided to revisit Aspen, returning to the slopes where our journey began. As we glided down the mountain, Emily skied up beside me. "Race you to the bottom?" she challenged, her eyes sparkling mischievously. I grinned. "You're on." We took off, laughter echoing in the crisp mountain air. At the bottom, breathless and exhilarated, we collapsed into the snow. "Still can't believe you took me out that first day," I chuckled. "Best collision ever," she giggled, leaning in to kiss me. In that moment, all the stress and worry melted away. We had weathered the storm, emerging stronger and more connected than before. Back in Denver, life returned to normal. We focused on building our future, eventually welcoming a beautiful baby girl named Grace. Occasionally, we'd hear snippets about Rachel moving away and starting over, but we left the past where it belonged. One evening, as we sat on our porch watching the sunset, Emily took my hand. "Thank you for standing by me," she said softly. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be," I replied. We clinked our glasses together, toasting to love, trust, and the unbreakable bond we shared.